This is what networking is. You know, it's the art of building and sustaining mutually beneficial relationships. It's an art, not a what? It's not a science. So again, it's not something that you could, okay, the dictionary version of the word says this, and this is what I need to do. It's going to be very, again, fluid and flexible depending upon the environments that you're putting yourself into and the situations and the individuals that you're interacting with. So it is an art, and it should be ongoing. Now, I think some people become intimidated by the word networking. How many of you have children? I can ask that because I'm not your employer. All right. I have a 10-year-old. How often, do you network with your neighbors sometimes when you need help with childcare, or you need someone to shuttle your kid to and from an event? That's networking. You're networking in your life all times. So think about even the networking for opportunities and jobs that you might be seeking. It's no different than the interactions you may be having with neighbors, with friends, with family, when you're trying to, maybe you have an elderly parent that you're caring for and you're having some help from a brother or sister in helping you with that interaction with that parent. So I mean, networking is really an ongoing process that you have in your daily life anyway. So who comprises your network?
Family.
Yep, family, friends, co-workers, yep. The stores or
Local market or something,
sure.
Go to all the time. Church, if you go to church.
Sure, church. Who did I mention earlier about with my son? Neighbors. Yep.
Social organizations.
Social organizations like?
Health club.
Elks.
Yeah, so
VFWs.
yeah, so even those of you who you mentioned are veterans, connections with organizations that might be similar, even with the role of the I know. So some may not, but I mean those are possible connections. Gym, someone mentioned gym or fitness areas.
Professional organizations.
Industry groups.
Industry groups, right? College
alumni.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that. I know we're talking about us all being boomers, but it doesn't matter when you graduated. Those groups, those alumni associations, find a way to connect back, especially they're all online now. Even if you're I'm not at state anymore, but obviously I'm not in Michigan, but if you're physically near the campus, go check out what's going on in the Career Center. It's not just for the kids that graduate.
Social networks.
Yep. Who's in LinkedIn and all those? Facebook.
Former vendors or customers or clients.
Excellent. Boy, do they have connections, huh? And if you had an excellent relationship with them from a customer service standpoint, they're going to want to be a good spokesperson for you.
Chamber of Commerce.
Sure. The chambers, yeah. It's not necessarily the first person that you're interacting with that has the job opening. It's oftentimes 5 or 6 people beyond them that they are connecting you with that actually have an opening. But you have to do a lot of legwork and a lot of that 30-second commercial over and over again. Why would you not want to interact with anybody, regardless of their status? They may have been somewhere you're about to go. They may have tapped into a lead that they don't need or desire, and they're giving it to you. That doesn't mean it's not one that's desirable. It just may mean it's not one that fits their background. There may not be enough events in a week that you can attend, so you need to decide for yourself which ones are going to be the most advantageous for me based on what. And the big what has to be, what is your goal? What are you planning to get out of that experience? And go to it with that in mind. And there's some slides coming that I will share with you. Like, how many people should I talk to? What's my exit strategy? When I walk into that room, how long do I want to stay? And to make sure that you try your best, even if you're feeling awkward, everyone else is probably feeling the same way. Not to just shortchange yourself and say, I'm out of here 5 minutes later. Give it a little bit of time. So what is networking not? It shouldn't be one-sided. Oftentimes it is. I have people often interacting with me because of where I work or because of the work I do. And I can say a few people have never asked me, hey, anything I could do for you? Now, not that I need a job, but hey, it would be nice to be asked the question, right? Yeah. So think about that, always in the back of your mind. And they'll might politely say, no, there really isn't, but thanks for asking. They'll remember that. They'll remember that you're not just that person taking. Hi, I'm Roberta. And Roberta's got this cool little name tag here that says she's a trade show manager, administrative assistant, customer. These are all your background. So I'm Roberta Condrick, and I'd like to share my background with you. And then the latter part of it is I'm looking for something. But if you lead with the I'm laid off, I think that can sometimes be a turn off. And that's not you. That's not your definition of you.
No.
You're telling me about you and your background first. How do you start conversations? I mean, that's probably one of the more difficult things to. You think it's difficult, but you probably do it just fine. So here's some tips. First, you need to know who your audience is. Like, who are you going to be gathering with? Get a little bit of insight into that group. If it's a holiday party of neighbors, you probably are pretty comfortable and know those people. If it's a networking event that someone just invited you to and it's 2 weeks from now, well, not that you have a guest list necessarily, but do you know the kind of people that might be there? So don't just go blind. See if you can do any intel ahead of time. See if you know anything about the people. If there's a speaker, do a little research on the speaker. Google them or find out where they're employed, just to have that in the back of your mind. You may never need it, but in doing that, it's going to start to make you feel you're preparing yourself, and you're going to start to make yourself a little bit more relaxed by doing that. You look right at the person's eyes, you handshake. I call it 2 pumps and you're done. You're not like, nice to, and you let go of my hand. And I don't know if anyone noticed my subtle wipe of my hand here. If your hands are sweaty, just a little, not this, but just a little wipe can help that. Make sure that you're keeping your hand free. And if you have a purse, fine, but keep everything on this hand so you have that hand free. You're not having to do a weird hand thing to move. So your words and your actions determine your message. So the eye contact, the handshake, those are immediate sensory interactions people will remember. And you'll always remember I have that freezing cold hand.
The name tag.
There's some little tips on how to remember names. Diane has a great amount of them in her book. I say to get it right the first time. And what I mean by that is repeat it and ask them to repeat it if you didn't hear it. Nice to meet you, Pam, nice to meet you. Now, that's a little maybe obvious, but you can try to make sure you repeat it will have a better effect at you trying to remember it. You can use the name in a sentence. So Pam, I love your suit, your scarf's really nice. You said her name again. If they have a business card, we're so typical in the United States, we take the card and we just go, oh, thanks, plop. You take the card and you look at it. Whoops, sorry. Pam, oh, so you're an HR business partner. Oh, tell me more about that. So now I'm Pam. I'm going to remember the name and I've got it in. And then if there's something I was interested in, I'm going to write down something that might remind me, either in your presence or after we disengage, I might go over here and write something down. Where did I meet this person? Because if you start collecting business cards, do it then. Do it in the card. Do it so that you have that quick reference when you have to remember where that connection was. Sometimes association might work for you. So, lastly, it was, create a system that works for you, whatever that is. If it's visual, then you stare a little bit at the name and you kind of visualize Diana, Princess Diana, I don't know. You try to see if there's a visual that will connect that name to you. If it's more auditory, you're going to hear it, you're going to repeat it. Whatever you think is going to work for you, try a system. Don't let someone tell you that it has to be a certain way. With anything, by the way, within job searching, there's experts on everything. You're going to have to find what works best for you with all the information that you start to gather. So networking at events, think ahead, a few days in advance of, what do I want to achieve? How many people do I talk to? Am I going to just hang with, like Marie this morning? Am I just going to hang with her? Do I want to try to meet some of the other people in the group? How do I get in and out of conversations with ease? And what are some of my exit strategies and takeaways from that? Handshakes, we talked about first impressions, firm, quick, release kind of thing. Introduction, depending again on the audience, what you want your introduction statement to be. I mean, I don't want to spend time rehearsing that, but you should, if you haven't already, come up with a pretty good variety of introduction statements for, again, different variety of audiences. Body language, eye contact, confidence as best you can, muster up your ability to not just hunker down in a corner, but to try to move around the room. sitting behind the computer and sending out floods of resumes isn't going to find you a job.
Keep your brand out there.
Keep your brand out there. Keep you fresh. Keep you engaged and connect you where you might not know you're connecting to people who can help you.